Joplin Schools Board of Education meeting. Ms. Waldo, call to order, please.
Ms. Sharp?
Present.
Mr. Steele?
Present.
Mr. Wilcoxon?
Here.
Mr. Kimbrough?
Here.
Ms. Dicklin?
Here.
Mr. Landis?
Present.
Mr. Powell?
Here. Ms. Waldo, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, ma'am.
You and Andy and I.
Dr. Huff, District Showcase.
All right, well, we are so fortunate this evening. We have some wonderful students from Eastmoreland that are here this evening. They're going to talk to us about whole-based, whole brain teaching, and we are so fortunate. So I'm just going to turn it over to their wonderful principal, Heather Serbrook, to share in their wonderful talents that I'm sure they're about to demonstrate to us.
Thank you and good evening. We have some representatives from our third grade class at Eastmoreland. Mrs. Kelsey Wynn's classroom this evening, and she is trained in whole brain teaching. She's trained in whole brain teaching and does a phenomenal job of that, and she felt like she really wanted to showcase that for our showcase this year. She has a quick video, I believe, that we have ready, so we'll start with that, and then she wants to show a few things for the board this evening.
I'll do my best, don't get upset. Sometimes my brain says no, but my heart says yes.
When I say class, you say
Yes.
However, I say class, is how you say
Yes.
Class, class,
Yes.
class, class, class.
Yes.
When I say teach, you say
Okay.
However, I say teach is how you say
Okay.
When I say teach ones, raise your hand. Ones teach the twos, the five rules, and when we switch twos, raise your hands. Twos teach the ones, the five rules. Wait for it. Watch carefully.
Okay, tell me about whole brain learning. What do we do in my classroom for that?
We learn.
Yes.
Oh, mirror, it's awesome.
Show me what you learned today in mirror.
We learned about math and
Show me.
we did mirror.
I know that. Favorite thing about whole brain learning with the class, yes, and the mirror and the 5 rules. What do you guys like about it?
Mirror.
Yeah,
My favorite part.
Why do you like mirror?
Because we get to copy. Yeah.
Do you like mimicking the teacher?
Mhm.
Do you remember the stuff you do when you do mirror?
Mhm. Yeah.
Does it help you with your learning?
Mhm.
What do you like about whole brain learning? Clayton?
Class. Yes.
Why do you like it?
Because it gets our attention so we can learn.
Okay. Ian, what do you like?
I like the mirror
Why?
because we can do actions.
Do you like doing the actions? Does it help you remember what you're learning? On my signal, I want you to tell your partner, choose, I want you to talk first, tell your partner what are the things you can do when a book is too hard for you, and then when we switch, ones will be talking. Wait for my signal. Teach.
Okay.
Switch. Class.
My favorite part of whole brain learning is hands-on.
Why do you like that?
Because you have to listen to the teacher and it's very quiet, not so loud.
Okay. Lexus, what about you?
Mirror.
Mirror. Show me what mirror is. Mirror.
Mirror.
Everyone.
Mirror.
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 Hey, show us what you did today in math with the mirror.
We did
Associative.
associative
Parentheses.
and the verse.
Identity.
Zero.
Commutative.
Back and forth. Commutative back and forth.
Caroline, what's your favorite part? What do you like doing?
5 rules.
Why do you like the 5 rules?
Because it helps us be good and
What about scoreboard? Did you guys like scoreboard?
oh yeah.
Do you like earning game time in the classroom?
Yeah, because you get to dance or watch
Or
video.
play a game or something fun like that?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Got a joke real quick?
Yeah. What is this?
What's your joke?
I don't know. Your turn.
Yep.
My favorite thing about holding learning is that you can teach others and others can teach you and you learn stuff from other people.
I'll do my best, don't get upset.
As you can see, this goes across the curriculum. It makes learning fun. And I'll tell you what, when I'm in the classrooms, and in Mrs. Wynn's classroom, the student engagement is very high and it's very exciting. So, Mrs. Wynn, do you want to share a moment?
The reason why I do whole brain teaching in my classroom is that it keeps the kids fully engaged 100% of the time. They talked a lot about mirror. As you saw, some of them really love mirror. They like to sit there and mimic. But when they do the mirror, they're not only doing the actions, but they're saying it and they're remembering it. And then the next day I can ask them about it and they'll put their hands up and do whatever it was we did the day before in that classroom. I'm going to let these guys show you. Every day we start the classroom like this. You guys know what I'm going to do. So when I say class, you say
Yes.
however I say class is how you say
Yes.
class, class, class.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Class. When I say teach, you say
Okay.
however I say teach is how you say.
Okay.
When I say teach, I want you to teach everyone our 5 rules. Are you ready? Watch carefully. Teach.
Okay. Rule number 1, follow directions quickly. Rule number 2, raise your hand for permission to speak. Rule number 3, raise your hand for permission to leave your seat. Rule number 4, make smart choices. Rule number 5, keep your dear teacher happy.
And that's pretty much how we start every class period. That's what we do in my classroom, and they are constantly doing something. So, okay.
Thank you. Nice job. Thank you for having us this evening. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks to the moms and dads that brought them out tonight, too. Thank you.
This little sign works for her every day, make her happy.
She looked happy.
All right, do we have any, or I accept the motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Dr. Huff?
Okay.
Superintendent report?
We have several reports this evening. First of all, we're excited to have the Joplin High School Science Department here and like to ask the Science Department to come forward. They may be out in the hallway. No, there they are, right there. Okay, very good. And I appreciate you guys being here tonight to share what's going on in the Science Department. A lot of exciting things that you've already probably heard about, but there's a few things going on that we're really proud of and excited about that you probably haven't heard about too. So we're going to let this team take it from here.
You want us to stand or?
You know, we'll sit.
Oh.
Yeah, make yourself comfortable.
Thank you. Wow. Yeah, to follow the kids, that was awesome. So, my name is Jay Reed. I'm head of the science department. To my left, I have Carissa Boyer. She is also a co-head of the science department. And I have Nathan Munich over there, who is basically our department head for the chemistry. We've kind of come here to basically talk and tell you a little thing, some of the stuff that's going on that we're really excited about. The first thing that we're really excited about is the fact that we kept all of our teachers this past year. And when we look at our different department, the chemistry, the physical science, and the biology department, we actually have a unit that has been together for 3 years consistently, and we've been able to collaborate and work toward certain goals and try to get achievements. Some of the biology department have been working together 10 years or so more now together.
Number 11, I think.
I think so, yeah. So we have a really good group working together. We really like one another. And of course, we have the best subject. So that also helps quite a bit. So we've been doing that. Some really good things that we've been doing. Of course, we in 2012, we were 3 points below the state average on our EOCs. And this past year, we were 2 points above the state average on our EOCs. So we felt that that was good.
Good job.
This past year, as far as for the upper level classes and stuff, we added 2 dual credit classes this year. We're offering dual credit chemistry from Missouri Southern, as well as dual credit physical science this year, to add to all the other dual credits that we're offering. So we have a wide variety of classes that we're offering at this point in time. One of the other things that's been really kind of cool that I get to talk about is the flipped classroom. The flipped classroom basically is where the teachers have their lectures and so forth either online, or they have them on a disc and the kids can download them on their computers and so forth. And what the teachers have told me is, as far as teaching, they're more consistent because the same kids get every single lecture, instead of one class, being distracting and they're not getting all the things. So every kid gets to see the same lecture. Consistency is great doing that. The kids can come to class and ask for clarification. The teacher can sit down and they can work in one-on-one groups. They can work in small groups and help the kids to get better clarified. And hopefully, we're hoping that we can get more labs done that way. That's what we're really hoping that we'll accomplish that way. From the students' point of view, the students, if they do miss class, they don't miss lecture, and they really like that aspect of it. Not to mention, I've heard different little things that if the students are halfway through the lecture and they get bored, they can hit pause. And they can't do that in a regular classroom, can't turn this off. So they at least can hit pause at this point in time and come back to the lecture at a later time when they get sandwich or something like that. So we're really excited about the flipped classroom and the possibilities that come with that. We're also very excited about some of the probeware that we've gotten. So we're going to do more labs. We're hoping to do more labs. And some of our probeware has come from a grant that we have received. And I was going to turn this over to Nathan, because this is a grant that we've received. We've received probeware, and we're hoping to do a lot more labs and get more hands-on activities going on. So, Nathan, would you like to share with them?
Yep, sure. So I've got a little handout here. I'll just send these around for you all. So what Jay was referring to was a grant that was given by a gentleman named Blanton Whitmire from the St. Louis area. He was a former scientist. He's retired. He's about 95 years old now, and he's worked for a long time with the Kirkwood School District, which is right outside of St. Louis. And what he did was, after the tornado, he decided that he wanted to see if he could help us out in some way. So he provided us with an initial donation of $100,000. And some of the strings that were attached to that were that we were mandated to find a way to collaborate with Kirkwood. That money was also to be used for high-end scientific instruments that students in a high school setting typically wouldn't have exposure to. We did a couple trips to Kirkwood. They came down here so that we could see what worked for them and what didn't. We decided, based on those discussions, sort of what the best plan of action would be for what met our needs here in Joplin. And if you take a look here under our program, that's kind of what we decided would be the best thing to do for our students here in Joplin. And I'm just going to kind of go through the 3 aspects of what we've done with that money so far. The purpose of all of this is essentially to inspire students to pursue careers in science, get excited about science, and we're doing that, like it shows in the program there, through essentially 3 tiers. We have a research class that we've developed, and I'll talk a little bit about that. We have a department equipment that we've added. That's the probeware that Jay was talking about earlier. And then we also have an elementary science camp that we've just started this year, and we're really excited about that. So just to go through a little bit about those things, the research class is kind of the cornerstone of what we're doing with this program. Motivated students are able to take a year-long science research class that's modeled after a graduate level research experience. So they essentially pick a project and go through the research of that project, establish their experimental design, collect data, analyze the data, and then ultimately their goal is to publish in a peer-reviewed journal. That's a very difficult task, and to me, there's a lot of other successes that can happen without publishing. Though last year we did have a student that submit her work to the Journal of Experimental Secondary Science, which is a peer-reviewed journal. The editors on that journal are all medical doctors and PhD level scientists from throughout the country. They're California, New York, all across the board. And we had one student whose publication was accepted. I'm currently going through a couple last-minute revisions with her paper, and then hopefully that'll be in the next issue of the journal. Just to give you an idea of kind of, to put it plainly, how big of a deal that is, if you get a chance to look at that journal's website, other students that have published in there, they have some of their student bios. These are the type of students that are finalists in the Intel Science Fair. Their work is published in this journal. These are students that are going to MIT, Harvard, Yale. This is pretty top-tier stuff. So to have a student from Joplin High School get in there, it's not a surprise to me, but it's definitely an accomplishment that we're very proud of. Last year, a couple other highlights. We took a trip to St. Louis. The students they just had a blast there. They got to present their work to the individual, Blanton Whitmire, who funded this program. He took them out to dinner at his country club, which was an experience for me. It was kind of a black tie place. They told us 5 times don't show up in blue jeans, and the kids were just enamored at the surroundings, and so was I. We were also able to visit the WashU chemistry department. They gave us a behind-the-scenes tour that they've recently contacted me and said they'd like to do that again. We also got to tour the Danforth Plant Science Research Center. While we were there last year, Mr. Whitmire, his liaison, found us and said, hey, Blanton was so impressed by your talks. We gave him our research proposal talks. He said he would like to give you another $12,500 just because he thinks that you guys are doing good stuff and he wants to continue this. So we're excited about the opportunity to go back there again this year and see what happens. But even if there's no further financial support, I think that that's still what they've done is incredibly generous, and we're really excited about it. So just real briefly, a couple other things we have the LabQuest instruments that Jay alluded to earlier. This year we're also going to add to our instrument list Western blot technology. So we're going to be able to analyze protein expression in cells. That's something that most students don't even do in college. That's graduate level science. So we have 2 students hopefully that are going to get to do some protein expression analysis. And let's see here. And then the elementary science camp, that's something that I've charged my students with developing and implementing. So I have 3 students in my research class this year. It's not a huge group, but we're hoping to grow that next year. But they're charged with the task of coming up with a lesson plan. Every month we're going to go down there. We've already went once this year and tie-dyed T-shirts. The kids all got a camp T-shirt to take home, which was really exciting for them. So that's going to be a monthly thing where our high school students, we had about 9 or 10 high school students go down last time, where they get to kind of showcase what they're doing, get these 5th graders excited about science. And that's pretty much where we're at. So. Carissa, did you want to add anything?
I think you guys covered it well.
Okay.
So.
Yep. Well, thank you very much for inviting us.
You guys are doing some great work. It's
Yeah.
been exciting to watch that department grow. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Is that only at Irving that they're doing, these kids are going down for the science?
So,
Is it all 5th graders in our district or just the 5th graders at Irving?
that I don't know. Angie, do you know the answer to that question?
I didn't.
Is it all 5th graders, or is it just 5th graders at Irving?
It's the 5th grade class at
We
Irving.
have one 5th grade classroom at Irving. So
Okay.
we wanted to start small, be successful, and build up.
Super. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's Cool.
Okay, next we have Standards of Excellence update, and Dr. Bessendorfer's taking the lead on that one. Dr. Bessendorfer.
You want to do Project Hope first?
Oh, well, I did skip Project Hope, so let's do Project Hope first.
Mary Poppins in my bag with me.
And those of you that haven't met Renee White, she has been working with Project Hope for, is it going on 2 years now? Is this
About
okay?
14 months.
14 months. Has been doing a fantastic job of taking care of our students and staff post-tornado, and has some exciting things that she'd like to share with you this evening.
Thank you. So there is a handout, I believe, and there are PowerPoints. Your guys' handout has a little bit more information. I didn't want to put everything up on the screen just to bore you, so I will speak briefly, I hope. Somebody needs to give me the sign if I was saying to somebody earlier, when you get excited about what you're about to speak about, time flies quickly. So I want to say that Project Hope was born out of the tornado. The first year after the tornado, Joplin Schools and Ozark Center, thank you, Phil Wilcoxon, and Ozark Center and Governor Nixon put together people in the school system. We had 5 mental health counselors and 5 mental health case managers, and those were Ozark Center employees. After that year, academic year 2012-2013, which we just ended, we received a federal grant from the Department of Education, and I was hired, as well as 15 other people were hired. So I want to just briefly tell you what we did last year and what our intentions are for the coming year. And so the first thing is it was all about stabilizing the learning environment. If I can overemphasize the word stabilizing. Many of our kiddos, even after 15 months post-tornado, our kiddos and our staff as well, are still in flux. They were in flux last year, and we're still seeing some of that transition things. So the first PowerPoint that I gave you is the amount of people, or excuse me, the presenting problems that we saw in our students. So one of the things we did with 15 staff members is we really blanketed the district. In each building, we had mental health professionals, case managers, and then also behavior specialists and paraprofessionals, which are very much like teacher aides or teacher assistants. What we saw was, and this is comprehensive over the whole district, many kiddos who are experiencing really home life circumstances, not necessarily directly impacted by the tornado, but things like struggling with food security, struggling with electric bills, struggling with maybe people coming in and out of their home, different boyfriends, different moms, those type of things. And those would show up to us as kind of concerns by tears, by fear, by willingness to just really say things aren't feeling good at home. We also had, the second highest was our trauma or emotions, and those were typically around the storm or around still some of the residual of kiddos who had become hyper anxiety, hyper vigilant about things, or the other extreme, which would be pretty depressed, pretty hopeless about kind of when is Joplin ever going to look the same? So you can look on that and see the other ones. We had lots of issues around behavior. That really is one of the biggest identifiers in the classroom, is this kiddo can't sit still, or this kiddo is not following directions. And one of our premises is, if that's a new behavior, let's not refer them to special ed, let's refer them to Project Hope, and let's see if there's an emotion or a problem that has started this new behavior. And if we can correct the emotion or the new problem, then maybe the behavior will change as well. And we've had great success doing that. So I want to quickly, the next slide then shows, oh, thank you, Callista. The next slide does show the numbers of students we saw. And district-wide, we interacted with 1,309 students, which is about 18% of our student population. If you look quickly, the elementary, we had about 10% interactions. The highest, I think I was surprised by this, is we saw 1 out of 4 kiddos in the high school for problems, yes. Yeah. And that is why I staffed it differently this year. We have high needs continuing in the high school, and so we have more staff in both campus high schools to really serve. In some ways, it is almost like an emergency room social service problem. Kiddos are coming in on a daily basis with circumstances that have just circumstances. So anyway, those are the numbers. I feel really, really proud of my staff. I hope that they all know that I'm standing or sitting here in front of you to tell you really the good work they did this past year. I want to quickly read. I had hoped some of the students might come with me tonight, but they obviously did not. So this is early on last year, we had what we called a girls' success group at the 910 campus. And for lack of better words, we identified kiddos who were maybe into girl drama and conflict and avoiding of academic issues because they were caught up in all their social stuff. And so we had a group for 6 weeks, and this is what one of the girls wrote back. You know, you have no idea how much I have enjoyed going to your Eagle Time and how much you have taught me. Miss Cindy, you taught me how to be more social and open with people. You have also made me be more polite and have better manners. And she smiles after that. Miss Kim, you taught me to believe in myself, and that means a lot. You never gave up on me when most people have, so not only did you teach me to believe in myself, but you also taught me to trust other people. Miss Jen, you have taught me to relax and not get so caught up on what people say about me. You've taught me to channel my anger. Even though I smile, I've been hurt a lot, and this smile has so many secrets, sadness, and lies behind it. I want you guys to know how much joy you brought to my life just by showing me that you care. I feel that because of you, I am more successful, respectful, responsible, and dependable, and I am forever grateful. And then lastly, teachers and adults have been recognizing a change in my attitude. Finally, I'm getting the recognition I so desperately wanted but didn't know how to ask for. So that is a huge statement of what my staff has done for our students. My object lesson for the night is that think of this as every student that we saw one-on-one. We see students many, many times, again, 1,309, and that was our primary goal, was to work with students one-on-one or staff, and I really was the case manager for the staff. I interacted with 55 staff that were fragile in one way or another. But one of our long-term goals is to build the district and the organization to be a stronger organization for all these points to know how to serve this kiddo. And all these points are all the family members, all the staff, all the administrators, all the bus drivers, all the cooks, that all of them know how to support this child. That it doesn't take a master's degree or a doctorate degree to say, dang, that was a tough day for you. I'm glad you made it through. And so one of our goals is to really help, and we call that capacity building. And so your next slide is what we did with capacity building activities. Back up one, I'm sorry, Callista. And so we had close to 1,000 one-on-one consultations. This is with principals, teachers, school psychologists, anybody that surrounds themselves with the students. We would do one-on-one anytime they felt like they needed more information. How do you deal with an angry student? How do you deal with a non-responsive student? Then we also did 76 presentations in a 10-month period, and those presentations, our audience was over 1,600 staff members in the district, including our bus drivers. So I want to appreciate that Dave allowed us to interact with the bus drivers, and we've done that again already this year. So we're really trying to put the word out to all the staff how to manage when kiddos have emotional upset, when they maybe aren't the most appropriate behaviors, and how we can serve that. Again, sometimes trying to figure out what's the feeling behind all of that. To that end, last year also one of the things we did early on, and I hope staff still use these, we made cue cards that go underneath our staff name badges, one for the elementary, one for the middle school, one for the high school, and they're basically saying, take a look at these kiddos might be in trouble. How would you know if a kiddo was in trouble in the elementary? Well, if they're missing school too much, if they come tired, if they come hungry. Those are all cues that maybe something's going on that Project Hope can help with. Okay, the next slide. This slide also shows then we did a survey at the end of the school year to see if staff felt more confident with helping with emotional distress in their classroom. And it's really pretty good data, but I want to see it even stronger. So we had almost 50% that said they felt quite often comfortable handling kiddos that are having upsets. 44 said somewhat, and 6% said rarely. So a year from now, I hope I can tell you that we've moved those lines and that everybody feels a little bit stronger about helping our kiddos. Okay, and then quickly what we're doing this year, if I can. Oh, is exactly the same. We're stabilizing the learning environment, but we're also trying to enhance the learning environment. We're now 2.5 years out from the tornado, and there are still kiddos who have those effects. There are staff who still do. One of the biggest things that we're doing the exact 2 things that I showed you with my little object lesson, but we've added 3 more things, and I want to just briefly tell you those 3. One is making intentional focused support for the 3 buildings that will be moving in January to help the staff, the students, and the families, because some of the literature in psychology tells you that as you do change and transition, you will have sometimes deficits in your coping skills. So we have some very exciting, groovy things. If I'm funded by United Way, I've written a grant to United Way. Hopefully we'll hear about that in a couple weeks, but it is a collaborative between Mercy, YMCA, and Joplin Schools, a variety of ways to help with stress pre-move and post-move, and we'll do the same with Joplin High School later in the year. The other things that we are doing that I have really put a focus on is increasing family engagement at the elementary level. One of the things that I've researched a lot about is if we can get families and parents to be partners with us at that early age, then they will continue to be partners. And as my data showed last year, we had a lot of families that have been disengaged. These kiddos that I'm working with right now at the high school, many of them are really, in some ways, they would not call themselves homeless, but they are living couch to couch, week at a time, trying to figure out where they're going, and they're still coming to school. I mean, that is the heroic efforts they're making. So one of the goals is to do a lot more with families at that elementary level. I brought these for you all. Last year, we actually had magnets. These are we all sold out. I gave them out. They weren't for sale. We had some for the elementary level that just said, start your day the Eagle way, and it said things like, have a nice breakfast, get your backpack prepared, and the hints are really there for both the student and the families to kind of have an idea of what's a daily school expectation. These are for high schools, and I'd love to give them to you if you didn't get one. They break apart, and this is, again, how would you know if your kiddo might be in trouble? Is your child losing weight? Is your child avoiding you, sleeping too much? Those kind of indicators in adolescence that might ask you to pay attention. And then the last thing was, please call the Joplin Schools. We care about your kiddos. So I'll leave those here. The last 2 things I want to tell you we're doing this year is, I guess, Check and Connect, you may have heard about. Last year, it started 18 months ago, Economic Security Corporation, we had funded them to do the Check and Connect program, which is a dropout prevention program. That now has been put back under Project Hope. I was able to hire most of those same employees, so now they're Joplin Schools employees, and we're having great success. We ended the year with 107 students on the Check and Connect program, and we've added about 25 more already since the beginning of school. That's a very intensive mentoring program. The last thing is we're continuing to try to eliminate immediate barriers, so things like kiddos who can't get to Flex to do their coursework at Flex because the buses don't run to Flex. We're finding taxi cab coupons, or we're finding people that drive by their house anyway. Just today we got 2 people bicycles from Bright Futures. So we're looking for those immediate barriers so that students can show up and participate in school. And then lastly, Dr. Huff and I spent quite a bit of time this summer devising a class at the high school 11-12 center, and it's really the high-risk dropout students that haven't caught the attention of the community programs like DYS, Juvenile Office, Judge Crane's Truancy Court. So they're moderately functional, but they're failing in school, and most of them, like I said, are have circumstances beyond their control, a lot of family issues, living on their own. One person is living with his girlfriend who's about to deliver a baby, but they're still coming to school. So I love this idea. Dr. Huff and I have kind of devised it. We have 18 students. It's an elective, and we're wrapping first hour is the time that we meet with them, and really we're in some ways parenting them for about 15 minutes before we get into this class, the school day, making sure that they've had some food, some whatever else needs. You got your pen, you got your paper, what's kind of, and then we make goals every week to keep them moving forward, and that's what we're calling it, is moving forward, and that each day and each week they can they can hit the mark and graduate in May. So I think that's everything I wanted to say.
Do you catch the students that didn't make it across the stage in 2013, or you just use the current?
It's a great question, Ms. Sharp. We actually, in June, had the list of 69, and now I think it's raised to 74. But we actually tried to contact all of those people in June and then again 1st of August to tell them the door was open, that we wanted them back. And Mr. Boyd and Mr. Hiller and Dr. Saketa have been great to also put the hustle to that. Not everyone responded.
And as we're talking about graduation rate, I was visiting with Dan last Friday about where we kind of are with this senior class currently. And it appears 85% are on track. They have the credits to graduate of this particular senior class. Roughly 13% of the senior class are off track a little bit, but they can make it. And they have a plan for each and every one of those kiddos of that 13%. So they're working it really hard. And with Renee, we talk about the tiers of intervention and the tiers of support, and we have tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and we started kicking around this tier 4 thing. We have this group of kids that are really struggle, and Renee's taken that project on. Appreciate the work of her and her team to develop the curriculum around that.
Good question.
Yes.
We had a grant last year, so did we get it again this year? Is it an annual renewable, or?
Thank you, Dr. Kimbrough, for asking. We actually, okay, Jim. We actually are holding our breath on 3 funding streams. The federal stream that we had last year, we have been asked to resubmit, and so back in May we resubmitted, and it's still in its iteration of change. I think we will hear something in the next week or two. We also started, we started this year with different funding. We have used Title I, and pieces of it is the neglected and delinquent Title I funding, and that will serve us until November. I have been with the city, and I'm glad you asked because I meant to tell you all this. The city of Joplin, the CDBG money, which is the Community Development Block Grant funding, they have approved, the city council has approved $337,000 for my project starting November 1st through June 30th. It's in the hands of HUD right now to approve. They should hear back any day, and my contacts, Troy Bolander and Jonathan Rach, are saying it shouldn't be a problem. So this year we are looking at, again, putting Band-Aids with funding together. And the third funding stream that we are looking towards, and I'm looking at Phil again, his vice president, Vicki Meisler, and myself and Janet Earl wrote a 5-year grant under Safe Schools, Healthy Students, and it would be a 5-year collaborative also with the juvenile justice. So I know you all met Judge Crane a month or 2 ago. It would also involve all of the activities she has, and it would be a 5-year, first-year planning grant. The next 4 years would be implementation. We hope, usually with federal things, you hear by September 30th. So next Monday could be a red letter day for us, because typically they go ahead and then initiate an October 1st fiscal year for themselves. So, but I did see Vicki this morning, and I asked her, and nobody's heard about it yet.
And one of the things, we talk about all the things that are happening in the Joplin schools, the new construction and everything, but I'm probably most proud of, from a support standpoint, what we've created that we've never been able to create before, from a systems approach to helping address the individual needs of each and every kid, and the collaborations that have occurred as a result since the storm. And Janet, she had a broad vision initially, even before Renee came on, about what can we do to create a system that can sustain itself, which means, and you heard Renee talk about it, training staff so that all those points, that everywhere that kid goes, they're supported by highly trained individuals that know when a kid's struggling and know the right questions to ask and what to say to a kid to keep them on track. And I think we're seeing some results of that already, and just an awareness has been a big part of that. But we're making great strides. And I know I've talked to Jason, Carrie Saketa, it would tell you the same thing, that our graduation rate improvement last year was due in large part to the work of the Project Hope folks and the work that they did around mental health issues and supporting our kids in new and different ways we've never been able to support before. And so now the challenge for us is how do we figure out how to sustain this and package this so no matter what, we're able to continue that effort moving forward.
How do you market the Project Hope or advertise the Project Hope to the students and teachers and staff members?
That's a great question, Jeff. Last year, we were in the orientation day meetings, the kind of mandatory meetings at each and every building with a sheet, and we've made it as simple as possible. There's no referral form. We use our cell phones, call us, and we'll come, basically. And so we've continued that this year as well, as just to be present and to be FaceTime with the people who are the decision makers in each building or the staff. And so we go to their PLCs, which are the professional learning community times, about 3 times a year and remind them that we're available. Really lots of word of mouth. Students themselves, especially at the middle school and high school, have my friend's crying, something bad happened Saturday night, will you talk to her? And so the students have been a real endorsement as well. But we do try to continue to be in the staff meetings, in the buildings. Everyone has an office at a building, besides myself. My office is here. But otherwise, they are out in the buildings, present and available.
Do the students know how to contact you on their own, or do they have to go through a staff member?
They don't have to go through a staff member, but they would have to get a out-of-class pass or a hall pass to go somewhere. And I'm not sure at the elementary levels, Jeff, that we've really focused so much on the little kiddos as much as I believe that it's the family system that needs strengthened at the elementary level.
And how much has the text messaging system that we put in place been utilized by students?
Actually, I had some data on that. Ozark Center has put a text messaging system called Talk About It, and I just got some data on that. I don't know, Phil, if you can get it faster than I, but it was highly, what did you say?
I can call Mickey.
You can call, yeah, exactly. It was more utilized, here it is. Gosh, I found it. The Ozark Center's Talk About It texting program was launched with Joplin schools in November 2012, and since that time has had over 5,663 total logins to the site from 2,285 users. That's a lot. Yeah. And 26% of the text messages have been specifically related to mental health issues. So there's a little bit of a menu of other things that they can talk about It, like academics or things, but 26% have been mental health specific.
285 users?
I'm sorry, 2,200,
Oh, okay.
2,285 users. Yes. The other data, just quickly, since Ozark Center has been so great to help us gauge what's happening in the community versus what's happening in our school district, and the number of hotline calls that Ozark Centers, they staff the 24-hour day, 7-day-a-week crisis hotline. It has gone down in a year, but proportionally the adult calls have gone down drastically and the children-related calls have gone up. So in some ways we're seeing that curve that has been talked about after a significant disaster or tornado trauma in a community. And that is oftentimes kiddos are the last to kind of reach out or fall apart. And so that data was interesting as well.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks.
Thank you all. Thank you for your kind words.
Thanks, Renee. Appreciate it. Pass on our thanks to your team, too. You got some good folks.
I will do that. Thank you.
All right, now I think we're ready for Standards of Excellence.
I would love to, Dr. Huff. Thanks for letting me share tonight. I just want to very quickly share with the Board of Education kind of what the plans are for the Standards of Excellence. You can see on the screen we have a new logo. It's also on our computers, and so just to kind of something to keep this in front of us to make sure that we're aware of what's going on. The Standards of Excellence is our strategic plan. And it has those things. You've gone through those and you've seen those in the past. And so what I want you to know is that monthly we'll be bringing to you something that's going on that's part of that work. So it might be something that's related to one of the indicators. It may be something bigger, but it's just going to be kind of pieces of the fact that here's this big plan for 5 years, and we're eating the elephant one bite at a time. And so we'll be bringing you some of the work that we're working on. Obviously, there's lots of work that is happening at any given time, and we'll just be highlighting some of the things. And so as long as you're aware of that the strategic plan is, the Standards of Excellence are on our district website. And so if you ever want to see those, they're there. Every Leadership Council member is responsible for multiple waypoints. And so we've identified who's carrying the water for those things. And so that's the way that we're working it. But I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have about the Standards of Excellence at this point.
Things are moving along.
We're making it happen.
policy update?
Okay, Tina is back here somewhere. There's Tina. If Tina could come up real quick. This is just a really brief update to the board in terms of MSBA policies that have come our way, and I think our policy committee is going to be relatively busy, so I'll let Tina address that.
Yeah, just to give you an update and answer any, quick questions that you have, in case you have any. MSBA sent updates, which they do every year about this time, and we received about 20. And generally speaking, they're all being updated to comply with updates to state and federal laws. So our plan is to bring those to the board for a first reading in the meeting in October. They've been sent out to the various departments and individuals that need to review those because they're applicable to their area. And we'll come back, the policy committee will meet, and that includes Mr. Kimbrough and Ms. Sharp, and we'll do that the first Monday in October. And then we'll clean up any language that we need to, and then we'll bring them to the board, the meeting in October. Is there any questions I can answer?
Any dramatic changes or?
No, not in this set really. From what I reviewed, it's basically just very minor, just language that helps clarify and just be in alignment with some changes to laws. So nothing really major in this update.
You and Andy ought to be able to handle that.
It's all yours.
Good job, Jim.
Like, for example, one of it was from cell phone to communication device.
Right.
So, I mean, it was just, and then like bringing animals to school.
And sometimes we question why they make such minor changes, and the best analogy I can give is generally because it's been questioned at some point. It's been questioned and somebody's had to deal with it, and it's been a matter of if we'd clarified this better, it would have been more an advanced answer, not a reactive type thing. So that's really what we're dealing with.
I think Mike Johnson's department will have one on bidding, and so.
Very good. Thanks, Tina. Appreciate it.
I didn't see anything.
All right, now we're ready for
Jim.
construction updates. A lot of work going on. And we've had, I think last time we got together, we were coming off a lot of rain, and this time we've had some good weather this last month, I think.
Very true. Well, we've got, I guess, updates on all the projects. We've also got Jim Stumplebeam with us here today. That's going to give a little bit more of an update on some of the design concepts that they've been working out with the district staff, and it's got a slideshow on that, and then some photos, which is probably a lot more exciting than our narrative report that we give each month. But I'll start with the high school. CJ mentioned we've had a lot of progress over at the high school, starting with areas D and E, which are our bioscience wings. We've seen a significant amount of change. PCI, which is our drywall contractor, has completed the exterior framing and the exterior sheathing on about 60 to 65% of the building shell. If you've been by and looked at it, that's the purple board that you see that surrounds the building that's allowing us to get closed in. What may not be as visible from the street is they've also completed over 50% of the interior stud framing, and that's where all the future walls are going to be throughout those additions. The MEP trades, Aegis, P1, Gold, and Omni have all been following right behind them with their in-wall rough-ins. So if you've been through, you'll see plumbing in the walls for the bathrooms. See a lot of electrical conduits for the spaces, and they continue to stay on track right behind the stud framers. One thing that really exciting to us, because it's been a long time coming, DH Pace and Saratoga have gotten some of the first roofs on the building, in particular at the D wing, which is opening up new work for us. We're starting the drywall work up high where we've got the duct work, and they'll continue that on down to the ground now that we've got the roof and the dry in about 50% of the bioscience wings. Over the course of the next month, what should you expect to see? We'll see the continuation of the exterior stud framing and sheathing for the rest of the bioscience wings. It should all be complete by next month. You'll also see the installation of the liquid applied air barriers. If you remember from Irving and or East Middle School, I think at East Middle School is kind of a red color that you saw on that people might have thought was a finished product or panels that goes beneath the skin to keep air and moisture out of your building. You'll see that going on over the purple board. I can't tell you what color it's going to be yet. It'll be a surprise, I suppose. We'll also see the rest of the roof being dried in for the bioscience wing, which will allow the work to continue as it's going in Building D over into Building E. The next main chunk of area I'd like to talk about is the Arts and Communications wing. That would be the two wings that are to the north of the bioscience wing. HME, our steel contractor, has completed all the detail work for Area C, which is the first of those two wings, which has allowed Branco to finish all of their elevated concrete slab work for that particular building. And probably equally important, it's allowed us to get the metal stud contractor scheduled to start on the exterior stud and sheathing work of that building, which should start to take place here in about the next week. We've also continued with the detailing work on Building B, which is the building immediately to the north of it. And over the course of the next month, they will have that finished up, which will allow Branco and the stud contractors to follow in behind them. Other areas of the project, we've seen some changes over in the gym area, which is buildings K and L. Maybe not as noticeable from the street, but they have finished all of the footings that we can get in for both the auxiliary gym and the main gym. And they finished the FEMA walls for those for that space over the course of the last month. We're working closely with the steel contractor now to get them out onto site. We expect them to mobilize mid-month and start seeing red iron come up for those buildings, and we should see significant progress on it by the next board meeting. I guess last but certainly not least, we have been able to get some work underway over at Franklin Tech, at the Performing Arts Center and the Central Plant. And as you know, we've been fighting with some underground soils conditions, and the micropile contractors have now been out on site, and they've got work started in all of those areas. We're continuing to find some minor roadblocks on it, but they've continued to work, and as long as we don't run into any future complications with unforeseen conditions that we haven't hit to date, they should wrap up the micropiles during the month of October. The footings for Franklin Tech, the Area J, is now ready for load-bearing masonry to start, so we're going to see Walker Masonry mobilize and start seeing load-bearing masonry within the next week or so going up in that area. So we'll start to be able to see, I guess, the overall footprint is really going to start taking shape here in short order.
Moving a lot of dirt, aren't you?
Moving a lot of dirt.
Of the red iron that's up right now, how much more is there to go?
I would say we probably have about 75 to 80% of the red iron out there and in place. The Franklin Tech and Central Plant areas are more load-bearing masonry, so you won't see as much red iron on those. We have to wait for the walls to come up, but then they'll have steel joist and deck for those. The gym structures is all structural steel framing members, and so when that shows up this next month, we'll probably be in the 90% range as far as structural steel on site.
Dr. Huff and I were out there yesterday, and what's the plan there on Grand Avenue? What are they going to do in front of the school? Is that going to be leveled, or what's
The berm, it's basically the berm going up to Grand Street. What will happen with that? That berm will stay, I assume.
There is a berm that is going to stay over on that side, but I believe the area that you're talking about, we should have parking, and I think there's I don't know if it's a bus loop that runs on.
Is that at finished grade right now? What they have there currently?
No, it's not finished grade yet.
That's the question.
Yeah, that's good.
$64,000 question. Are we on time?
Yeah, we review it on a regular basis. All areas seem to be tracking very well at this point. I mean, I know we've mentioned before that the Performing Arts Center is going to carry into the school year, and it's looking closer to a December timeframe for turning the Performing Arts Center over. We would expect all of the other areas to be substantially complete for the start of the school year, so that they can be.
Everything but that.
Yes.
Everything done except.
Yes.
Any other questions for Archie?
All right, I'll jump into East Middle School and Soaring Heights Elementary. Starting with the exterior work that's taking place. If you've been by there, we recently poured or paved the southwest parking lot and the drive lane that goes into that. And at the same point, we're working on the sidewalks moving around the building from that southwest portion all the way around the west face, north face, and then kind of finishing back off where we started there. While we're doing those sidewalks, they're actually cutting grades on the north parking, that drive loop there this week, and we hope to start the sidewalk or the curbs and the sidewalks up to the building from the front of the 20th Street next week or following next week. So from a sequencing standpoint, the site work is progressing as we'd hoped. We're going to move into the kind of the last drive loop on the backside of the elementary. That'll actually take place following next week from a grading standpoint. So our sequence is timing week at a time right now to get the curbs ready and then follow suit with the asphalt paving. So a lot of what we've got from a construction debris or staging areas is going to start demobilizing and getting out of the area. We will kind of move it closer to 20th Street. I know it's a little bit more of an eyesore, but that's a grading area that's going to be done and give us a good place to set up until we pull out of the job at the end of the project. So from a site standpoint, we're progressing really well. Moving on to the building portion of it, we're working on interior finishes for the middle school side. Joplin Floor Designs has finished up the tile on the lower levels. They're working on the tile on the upper levels with anticipations of completing that in the next week and moving into the elementary, kind of jump starting that a little ahead of schedule to try to pick up some time on the elementary side. Midwest Drywall's finished up with the gyp all the way up to the Commons, which is the main corridor entry of the middle school, kind of separating the auditorium and the middle school wing, the two-story portion, which we hope to bring that back up following next week as well. So we'll have all the graphics ready that was presented in the last board meeting. Those locations are taped out and ready for measuring, so we're getting those ordered. We'll have those to be able to get installed ahead of school, so we're really pleased about that. That was kind of a later design thing, and it's tracking real good in sequence now, so it'll be a nice finish. Interior surface, our flooring contractor out there has delivered material. They're going to start installing that toward the end of next week in the middle school side. If you've walked through, we've got casework kind of everywhere in the middle school. We've kind of shaken it out, and it's kind of staged in rooms, and they're working through lower level, and then they'll move to the upper level, setting that kind of with the flooring guys chasing them out of the space. So from a middle school standpoint, we're in really good shape to complete this, get out ahead of that December timeframe where we can get punched out and turned over in good time or good fashion ahead of the turnover at the end of the year. From a middle school or from an elementary standpoint, we are scheduled right now to be finishing up with all of the gyp, hang, tape, and finish by the end of the month of October. It looks like a tight window because it is a tight window. It always has been, but we're tracking right on schedule. The gyp is finishing. We've got, driving by, the first thing you see obviously is the temporary infill that we have in the windows. The window sequence is kind of mid-installation during the completion of our gyp. So they'll tie those pieces in at the end. We've got it dried in at this point so that we can keep those finishes moving. The admin portion of the elementary school is hung right now. They're finishing the sheetrock in it. The media center is falling. It kind of jumped out of sequence for some design things, and we're bringing it back up next week. So by the end of next week, we should be up to the last kind of two pods of the Eagle's Nest and the Learning Park, the decorative spaces in the middle, and then the last two pods of the elementary, hanging that out through the rest of the month of October. So a good sequence. It's tight, but things are tracking really well right now. We're making some steps to advance the tile finishes and take advantage of some of those longer finish items in the restrooms and the graphic areas. So,
just curious, when you look at the East Soaring Heights site, roughly anywhere I've been there where there's been 200 guys on site, I don't know what there was today. High school, roughly 130 to 150 guys just about any given day, and then you got the Irving site. So I pretty easily say close to 500 500 workers,
Oh, yeah.
roughly 400,
Yeah.
450 workers.
Yeah, we've been close to 300 at East, Middle, and Soaring Heights, and I think at Irving, we had 150, 160, and I don't know how many you had, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty close.
So well
Yeah,
over 500 employed
Yeah.
workers on those sites working hard to get those jobs done. And I'll say the sites are clean. Appreciate, don't see cigarette butts anywhere, which
Great,
I always
great.
appreciate. Guys are always respectful and very polite, and appreciate you guys' leadership in that. And there's just been good people, and they're all working hard. Everywhere I go, there's guys working every nook and cranny everywhere. So it's exciting to see it all come together. It changes day by day everywhere I go, and I try to stay out of the buildings and not go in more than once a week, but because it's like watching grass grow, but literally
Yeah,
there's so many
yeah.
guys working that you can actually watch the grass grow almost on a day-by-day basis at all sites.
And there's a tour set up on the 31st. I know the district's touring the middle school, and that's going to be a great time to see the finishes kind of taking place from the flooring and the casework in place and those things. So it's a really good time to see a closer finished product. We'll still be working on some interior finishes, but it'll look a lot more presentable at that time. So, and you do have a great group of trades. I mean, there's a lot of people involved, 30 contractors about on each job, and they're doing a great job.
They're committed. I can see they're committed.
Any other questions on East or Soaring Heights?
You reminded me of a question I wanted to ask about that. Do they still call it home economics, or is it the facts?
Facts.
What's the countertop height in those rooms?
Phew. I tell you, if I say it, it'll be off, but I believe it's 34.
Now, do we have, I guess you're asking about the handicap side of that. Do we have?
Yeah, we have
accessible
ADA access,
accessibility?
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, and sinks and?
Yep, they've got a standalone ADA compliant area for those locations.
I remember one of the architect trips when we were on, we looked at different types of sinks for those kinds of classrooms. You remember that, Annie? You were with me. And we discussed, do you want one that you approach on the side? Do you want one that you can roll under and all of that? And I know that, we weighed in on that. I'm not sure what our decision was,
I think
honestly,
we had
but
forward access. I don't think
I
they're
think it
side
was
approach.
forward and not side, and so,
Yeah.
but it was, all of that was discussed in detail.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll jump into Irving and then turn it over to Jim. He's got some nice photos for us. On the site work over there, we're anticipating paving the first parking lot, which is the southeast parking lot over there, tomorrow morning. So we expect to see them over there and paving that. It's kind of an essential piece for us so that we can start ripping out the parking lot that we've been, kind of trailers have been staged and people have been parking at this point.
Are you doing that later, or are you doing
Yeah, they'll come in and do the base course and then the topping coat, so.
we're gonna do the top coat later, or we're doing the top coat now?
Right now, they'll do both. And so we've got that scheduled for tomorrow. DeWitt's currently working on the sidewalks coming out of the back side of the building, and when I say the back side, it's the off of the media center coming to the east side of the facility. And those are going out to the integral curb, which creates our drive lane for that second phase of our paving, and then they'll just move right around from the north side onto the west face of the building in sequence, kind of in the same fashion as we're doing it east, week to week. And Kat's going to start this week tearing out our parking lot where we were staged there with our trailers and things. Those are gone now, and we're going to start finishing the grades and getting those prepped for the sidewalks and curbs. Building progress, the two-story Area C, 2nd through 5th grade classrooms. We've got Allen's Mechanicals installed the plumbing fixtures. Toilet partitions have been installed. Joplin Floor Designs has completed the tile throughout the upper and lower levels, and they're moving into and about to complete in Area B. Flooring has delivered, and they're actually out there working on that right now. Over the next week, a lot of the decorative finishes from the kites and the baffles and things like that hang and kind of decorate those common spaces are going to start going in, so we'll see those finish. The goal is to kind of elevator is going to be part of that next week as well, so we're going to see those things come in, and then we'll kind of bring that into an early punch list and just do a quality control review and wrap up everything on the two-story and kind of isolate it until we turn the building over. On the B portion, which is the admin, media center, kind of arts and music area, the center point of the building, Yakel Painting has been doing a real good job of staying out ahead of everyone, really, and there's a lot of color out there, and they're just moving as quick as you could ask for. So they've painted out the admin. They're working on the color scheme in the gym right now. They've started the decorative murals that kind of go at the skylight and getting ready to lay out those that are going in the gym. So those will be some nice key features to see here shortly. casework has delivered for portions of Area B, and they're going to start working on that following next week, or actually into next week. And then Feller's Fixtures for our kitchen supplier, they have set the equipment and they're hooking that up right now. So the tile and things are done in the kitchen, and we're setting up the kitchen equipment and hooking that up as we speak, or during the week, obviously. The Area A, kindergarten and first grade wings, the gyp is hung and they're working on the final finishes. They'll button that up this week. Painting is going to move into there next week, along with the tile and the restrooms, and sequence in the kind of wainscoting that continues down the kind of open house space. So we're progressing really well over there. Certainly ahead of the December completion. I think right now we're setting to turn that over for the grand opening or ribbon cutting in the November timeframe. So for the Thanksgiving break, so that we can start doing those open house things that the district has planned. So any questions on Irving? Things are progressing really well over there. A lot of finishes you're going to see here in short order. So
On time, on budget?
ahead of schedule and under budget, yes.
Oh, wait, that's even
We're
better.
tracking. Good news there.
Yeah.
Jim, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, great, thank you. Pleased to be invited to be a part of this report and update, especially now because this is a really exciting time when the finishes and the colors are going in, and the building is becoming more than just a bunch of red iron sticking up out of concrete, and it's really establishing its own sense of place and its own presence on this site. And you think back 2 years ago, Dr. Huff, we were having meetings trying to figure out where this school was going to go. And I know you and your admin team had some real challenges. And even when Mercy stepped up and offered this potential campus, there were dozens and dozens of site studies to try to figure out where this should be and what the vision was going to be. So you reflect back on that, then you look forward from there to now, and you see what the vision and the hopes and dreams were all about. And it's really kind of cool to see that coming together. And as architects, we of course get a lot of satisfaction out of seeing a plan come together, so it's really a pretty exciting time. And I don't know if any of you have had a chance to be out at the building recently, but things are changing pretty quickly. And as Jason said, the energy and the momentum is building up, and you can really get a sense of the spaces, and you can hear the little kids running through the hallways. And
I actually heard teachers in the hallways today, truly.
And,
They were there, and the kindergarten teachers were there picking out the classroans today.
Oh, I bet that was fun.
Well, it was. I thought, well, how do
There was
they determine that? Is it arm wrestling? What's that?
Yeah,
and
some wheeling
actually,
and
they said
dealing
it's the
going
same
on.
ones that
I'm sure.
they kind of picked them out early on just from the plans, and they went in, and they still wanted the same ones that they'd originally agreed upon.
Yeah,
so
I bet there was some bargaining going on too.
Yeah, I don't know. There's some nice classrooms over there for sure. Yeah.
But the teachers and students and parents have been through the building on a number of occasions, and just recently they were there signing the slab and writing notes and writing their names and some commemorative statements and so forth, and that was a week and a half or so ago.
Yeah, they just got to see part of the building, but that was exciting.
And I've got some photographs of some of those I'll show you here shortly. But I want to try to give you, let's see, am I doing the right one here?
With your Sharpie.
I got the right one, right button here. It's not moving for me.
Let's see if that's right.
Try that. Oh, okay. Helps to turn it on, doesn't it?
There we go.
Technologically challenged here. Okay, there you go. I'm going to walk you through kind of a visual tour here. I've got several slides, so I'll try to go quickly. And then if you have questions along the way, that's fine. This is, of course, the final design rendering, and I apologize if these are a little bit hard to see, but some of our photographs were a little washed out, and some of them are a little bit dark. But this was the rendering, the final design from the teachers and the design team, the final color scheme and so forth. And the bottom is a photograph of current state just a couple of days ago. And you can see it's amazing actually how accurate some of these rendering tools are these days. But coming along quite nicely. And Jason assures me that the dumpster right there will not be in the final scheme of things. So we should be able to get an even nicer photograph here shortly. And some other comparisons of renderings and current status. This is the front door, front canopy. The color on the stucco has been installed in most of the locations, and a couple of them that need some adjustments. And still, the canopy needs paint and the skylight covering and so forth. But moving along quite nicely, and you can really begin to get a sense of the type of place this is going to be. Again, rendering in the upper left, and the other two images are photographs, current status. And this is a cutaway rendering or section through the front. This is the front entry canopy, lobby. This would be the art room, and then this would be the gymnasium and safe room. And if you look closely, you can even see the guys even put all of the concrete piers that are holding up this building underneath there. And we threw this in just for fun because it's kind of neat. We did this for a promotional purpose, and we'll probably use some images like this when the building is submitted for some design awards later after completion. But we'll go inside here in a second and show you some of those images. But before I do that, and these may be kind of hard to see, but these are some photographs of some of the notations that folks left. This one I know says, "Believe in yourself. You can do anything." And then signed by a student over on the left, and then over here says, "and family." And then there are a couple of others I'll show you. This one has a lot more words, and as you might guess, there was someone with a doctor's degree who wrote this one. This was Angie's. And Angie, I don't know if you want to read that or if you can.
Oh, it's okay.
At all, but if you get a chance, go out there and take a look at these. From what I understand, the workmen are kind of trying to steer away from these and not mess them up too much. At least there's no tobacco stains on any of the prominent ones yet.
Better not be.
But better not be. And this is another one by a student, and it says, "God bless this amazing school and all the kids in it."
And it may be in honor of the student because we actually didn't let any students come. Their big time to see the building is when it's actually finished. And
Oh, that's right.
Parents came and they put their kids' names on the floor, but the students were not. And I actually had some kids have conversations with me while their parents were taking care of business. So.
Cool. Yeah, I was not able to be there for that, so I didn't realize that it was primarily parents.
Adults.
And adults. And this is one from Dr. Huff, and also...
Fast forward through that one, I found a typo in that one.
Yeah, there's a little typo or a little syntax issue there. Of that, we all, and if you're able to read that, Dr. Huff, go ahead, if you can read that. All right. But no English teachers there at the time, I guess, to grade you on that. But so that was kind of a momentous occasion, and a really a milestone in the building. Sometimes you do like a topping out ceremony on a building. With one-story building, that's kind of hard to do, where sometimes folks will sign a beam or do something like that. But this was kind of neat to sign the slab. Interior, this was the rendering of the front lobby and looking towards the library back here. Front door is on the right, and this is the large two-story clear story space. Art room is on the left. This is a little canopy jutting out into that space, marking the entrance to the corridor from where you're standing in this image. And this is the photo of the same location. And Jason assures me the construction materials will be gone before too long. But again, looking back at the library, and you see the glass and framing starting to go in. This is another shot of the library. You get some sense of the color and drama that this space will have, a lot of natural light. Looking back the other direction, this is the administration area in the two-story atrium or lobby. The front doors are on the left here, and the art room is on the right. And up the clear story windows up here to the left is where the eagle screened image will be. And if you can make it out there, a little bit of a dark photograph, but that's really going to be kind of cool, and especially at night when the building is lit from the interior. And then this is an image of one of the parks, the park neighborhood, which is the kindergarten and first grade wing. This is the rendering that we had done for you some time back to show you what this space would look like. And at present, this is that same view. Skylights are really nice. They really flood this area with a lot of natural light. And this is the north wing, which still has the most work to do. The sequence was from south to north, so this has not yet got some of the painting and accent colors and so forth. Also an image looking back that direction, and you can see the impact of the skylights on these collaboration spaces. This is the pond neighborhood, which is second and third grade, in the lower level of the two-story wing. And the theme, of course, pond. You see the lily pads, and Jason referred to those a second ago. Those will be coming shortly. And again, sorry, dark photograph, but along the edges, you can see the blue on the pond soffits, and the lighting is going in. This collaboration space does not have skylights, but it does have a large window at the end to bring natural light in. And again, an image further down in that collaboration space, you can see a little bit better the soffits around the perimeter to simulate the motion of water. And some of the accent colors you can see coming through the classrooms. And this is the Planet neighborhood, which is second floor, 4th and 5th grade. And again, the planet theme, the rings, and planets hung from the ceiling. This is the space as it currently, in its current status. Paint on the structure, open structure, and accent walls, which you can see through the large glassed openings in the classrooms. And again, that same area, the ductwork will be exposed. The rings are not in place yet. The rings will be in a radial pattern, and they will be acoustic panels also. This is the gymnasium, which will be a FEMA safe room, and this is a rendering showing you what the graphics and the color scheme will be. The drapes in the ceiling are between the concrete precast tees. Those are lapidary panels, acoustic treatments. And current state of that room is as such. You see they're getting the banding and some of the graphics started. Painting. The lapidary panels are on their way, or
They're here.
They're here.
Mm-hmm.
So those should be installed shortly. And this is a view looking back towards the entrance. This is the main entrance off the hallway back in that corner, so you're looking back the other way. Acoustic panels on the walls, and the bleachers, color scheme. This is the color scheme for the dining commons or cafeteria. The four walls here, and its current status is such, ready for paint. In fact, I think he was painting some of that just the last couple of days when I was there. This is the stage or platform, and it gets a couple of colors around the proscenium. And this is looking back towards the glass. And I forgot to mention on that back glass, it does show in the color scheme, it's hard to see, there will be some screen silhouettes that will go on that glass of children in various play scenes or positions, throwing a ball and jumping up and down and those kinds of things to add some more drama and action to that room. And this is just outside the main gym in a somewhat of a lobby or wide spot in the hall. This is the original stone from the old Irving School. It was the name stone or marker stone above the main entrance. It has a special place and has been mounted. And around it will be some panels with some photographs and imagery from history. And we've stitched that in to give you some idea of what that will look like. And a close-up of that is thus. And Nyla Vance, the principal, Angie, other staff, and some of our team worked on pulling this together. I don't know if you want to add anything.
Well, Christina Williams, our graphic designer, she did a lot of the really putting it all together. But I learned something that I didn't know, which was that Irving was first a school that was connected to Old South. That's thanks to Annie and some of her connections that had no clue. So the 1907 was the first Irving as a connection to Old South. Kind of interesting now that East, which is the Old South staff, now have an elementary connected to it. So.
So this is laminate panels, and those will be installed probably near the end of the construction sequence, I assume.
Yes,
Yeah, so
very
to-
last.
To make sure they don't get damaged. And a lot of the graphics and decorative items will follow that pattern too. Be some of the last things installed. This is at the two-story stair atrium with the large skylight above. This will be, as you come down the stairs, this will be a mural on a soffit that you'll be facing. And it's intended to try to pull together the whole, all the three of the themes, the pond, park, and the planets. It appears like it's maybe towards the planet side, but it really reflects hills and water, and trying to pull all of those together in a global sense. And we kind of had to twist the painter's arm a little bit to get him to paint the continents on the globe, but he happily did that, and he's been a very good painter to work
Very
with.
good, yes.
And he's been very excited about the color scheme and so forth. In fact, he is was a school board member in El Dorado, I believe, El Dorado Springs. Did I say that right? So he appreciated the color and the excitement of this school quite a bit. And then a few slides here on the floor patterns. This is the central part of the building. This is the main entry and the lobby. There'll be a floor emblem or logo that's blown up here in the lower right, and then again in the upper right with the eagle, the name of the school. And again, that was the result of several studies and input from teachers and administrative staff on getting that right. This is the north wing, or the park neighborhood for kindergarten and first grade, and again following the theme of some water-like elements, even though this is all vinyl tile. And in this wing, all of the classrooms are vinyl tile. There'll be quite a bit of color and pattern in the floors to add excitement to those spaces. These are the two south wings, the planet on the left, and again following the rings and the circles, and the pond theme for the second, third graders, following that color scheme and layout. The rooms, the classrooms on these two wings are carpet. They will also have colored dots and patterns to add some variety and excitement to those areas. And this is the floor plan in case you need to refer to anything or have questions about any of that. So that was real quick, hopefully not overload, but if you have questions, be happy to answer any of those.
Is the outside maintenance free?
Outside is virtually maintenance free.
Which means?
There's nothing that's absolutely maintenance free, but it's as close as you can get. It's brick and it's hardback stucco, stone,
and metal panels.
Metal panels. Some of the accent bands are concrete block.
So no painting?
So there's nothing to paint. Right.
Nothing to paint.
Nothing to paint.
All right. And then like the silhouettes on the glass, are they in the glass, or they don't peel off or scratch, or?
On the interior side.
Right.
Yeah.
So they can be scratched off?
If somebody really wanted to go up there and try
Okay.
to peel at it, but those things are adhered pretty well.
Very
Pretty
nice.
durable.
That's cute, yeah.
They're like 4 or 6 mil thick.
Maintenance-free floors, or is it polished concrete, stained
Yeah, for the
concrete?
most part. There will be waxing of the vinyl tile and care for those, and then carpet, of course.
Is it
has
that
to
carpet,
be
the carpet tile stuff?
vacuum, but it's carpet tiles, yes. And those can easily be pulled up and replaced or swapped
Yeah.
out with other tiles to keep them fresh. So it's pretty cool to see it coming together, and I'm sure you all have the same feeling about all the buildings, but this one's got a lot of the color and paint. I know that the east and Soaring Heights also has a lot of color on the exterior.
Do our storm shelters have 2 entrances? You only mentioned one.
Yes,
Cool, okay.
there is an outside entrance to each of the storm shelter areas, as well as
Okay.
interior.
Okay.
And that's a requirement of FEMA, so
Well-
that there is an exit as well to an unobstructed area.
education.
All right. Under my report, I still, for the third month in a row, would like to remind you all of the MSBA conference, October 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. So if you need anything with that, I would imagine you see Miss Waldo. Any public comments, Miss Waldo? No public comments. All right, so then I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Moving on to the regular agenda. Accounts payable, Mr. Barr?
Yes, President Flowers, the attached bill list items are for payment of materials, equipment, services, salaries, and benefits in both instructional and support areas. The administration recommends that the Board of Education approve payment of bills in the amount of $14,012,169.53.
So move.
Second.
Discussion?
Good job, Paul.
Please vote.
Yes.
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 Thank you.
Approval of supplemental educational services? Is that
Mr.
Barless?
Mr. Barless is coming up, and we had an extensive conversation, obviously, during work session about both of the items, number 2 and number 3. He'll be seeking action tonight on those 2 items and ask for your approval, but I'll let Mr. Barless give a quick synopsis.
I think you stated it very well, and we did present the program evaluations in the work session, and now we're seeking a motion from the board to approve those 2 program evaluations, one for Title I program and the other one for the special education program.
So move on Title I.
Second.
Discussion?
Is this says supplemental, that's what
Yeah,
Ms. White talked about, that was helping with Project Hope? She said
No,
something about
and
Title
actually,
I.
that's a different Title I. Actually, it's
Okay.
Title I-D is what helps supplements and supports the Project Hope. It's different. This is Title I-A, and it's for supplemental instruction for math and English language arts.
There's several different types of federal funding streams, and they have, a lot of them have that title in front of them, Title I, Title I-A, Title I-D, Title II, so a variety of things in there for a variety of different purposes.
That's a good question.
Any further discussion? Questions?
Mark, I wanted to ask about, earlier this evening you talked about one of your goals was to get to where you have more inclusion of special ed students in the classrooms. And so I wanted to ask about, why is that a goal? Explain that, if you could explain that a little bit. And does that affect, how does that affect a general education teacher?
Well, the evidence from and behind the inclusion is based on our hypothesis that we're not meeting our standards for graduation and achievement because of lack of exposure to the general education curriculum. So what we're looking at and understanding that you're always going to have a need for some resource services for extremely high need students. But what we're looking at and what research is showing is that, when you start practicing inclusive measures at a young age and you get the students access to the general curriculum, the need for supports and exclusion at the higher levels, middle school and high school, begins to diminish. And that's our goal and what we're looking for. And I think that we're compelled by the adoption of the Common Core State Standards and Missouri standards to make sure that we get students in the general ed setting more, but not at the stake of limiting or diminishing the education of the other students. That's a fine line we're going to be walking. Stretch, but not break.
Okay, thanks.
And it's the right thing to do.
We've had some very positive feedback on that, and understanding this too, that we have both camps, and I understand too, and we're going to listen to both sides as to what the concerns are for inclusion and the effects it's going to have on the general population. But I can show research that says that, and I have a school that I'm particularly interested in that has a 30% special education population that's full inclusion, and we're talking low instance, high need students integrated into the general ed setting, and parents for gifted students are wanting their children to go to this school because of the type of setting and the environment that the kids are experiencing. So, ideal.
Any other questions?
Because gifted falls under special education also, doesn't it? Gifted?
No,
program?
no, it's a different program. It's specialized, but it doesn't require, it's not under IDEA. It's not recognized that way. It used to be, Annie, a long time ago. They actually wrote IEPs for gifted students, but you don't do that anymore.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Cool.
Further discussion? Please vote.
Yes.
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 And yes. Annual program evaluation, special education?
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
Discussion? Any questions for Mark? Please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Discussion items. Thank you, Board.
I
Thank
have,
you, Mark.
I
Thanks, Mark.
have one. If we could, Kim Van sent out some dates on the ribbon cuttings. If you guys could look at those, and we need to make sure that we can all attend those dates. So I think she sent those out about 2 weeks ago. If we could look at those, if we have any concerns, please get with her and contact her.
And we realize it's going to be hard to get everybody at every one. I think we're going to have like 18 ribbon cuttings, so we're going to have a really busy.
Well, I'm talking about the three,
the
the only
three,
three she
right?
sent, there's only
You're
three.
only concerned about three?
The Irving, East, and Soaring Heights.
Okay,
Whatever
there
the
is a
December
Soaring
30th, I know I won't be that one.
What's that?
There's not one December 30th. They're January.
There's
Irving's
something.
January
Okay.
17th.
The 24th
East.
and the 29th.
Correct.
Okay.
Which one
We
would
do
you like to
something on
change?
the 30th.
What's that?
I said we do something on the 30th.
Michael, which one he would like to change?
I don't know. 17, 24, and who?
Soaring Heights, we have a preview,
Okay.
just a walkthrough.
Yeah.
I will get with Kim. The 24th.
24th.
Mhm.
Do you have
I'm out of town that whole week.
you'd like to have a date you'd like to change that?
I don't
date?
know, whatever will work with everybody. But I think it's important. We've worked 2 years on this process since the tornado, and I think as a board, it'd be nice if we're all able to be there.
I agree with you.
So,
Well, Kim will work on that, and we'll send out an email, and we'll see what we can do.
yeah, maybe the Monday, because we have a board meeting that week, the 28th. Tuesday, the 28th, we do have a board meeting, so maybe that Monday or,
We'll just have it over there.
there you go.
It can be done.
It'll be nice.
Yeah. Okay, that's all I
Any further
have.
discussion items?
Congratulations to our swim team, our tennis teams. Our fall sports are doing awesome.
Yeah.
Girls
Thank you.
Football team's 3-1.
Yeah.
Girls softball.
Thank you,
yeah.
coaches and parents, for supporting those guys.
Have West Plains this Friday night in football, a long drive for our students this Friday. Update on Wi-Fi on the school buses. That wouldn't hurt for me to touch on that briefly. And Callista's back here, and I haven't talked to her this week, so I don't know that I have the latest. So Callista, do you mind sharing real quickly? I'm sorry, put you on the spot. That's been a question that's come up a couple times, and West Plains got me thinking about that.
Have we talked to our bus drivers about the glare?
Dave and I were just
When
chatting
those
about
laptops
this
are open.
before the board meeting started. We have 6 buses that we're dedicating for the Wi-Fi systems. One was a bus that we already had, and 5 were new buses. The 5 new buses have not come in yet. And he was telling me, that's based on the fact that everybody wants to get their buses before school starts, so everybody puts in these orders at the same time, and they're just not ready. They're just not here. So whenever they come in, we'll be ready to install the system. We did get the system installed on one bus, and we are testing our filters on it right now to make sure that our students are safe. We are working with the company that provided the equipment to make sure that they have our blocked filter list, so that way the students won't be able to get to sites on the bus that they can't get to while they're at school. And that is something that is very, very important to us. We had it up and running, and then just wanted to double check that and make sure. And so we've sent them that file list, and so it's in that company's hands from this point. We have got the system installed so that it's working correctly. It is using cellular data, and we have 2 different cards in there, so hopefully if one card isn't pulling from a tower, the other card will. And then we'll also look at a different type of antenna for our future buses. The ones that we installed on this one had external antennas, and They did work great, but we have to drill a couple of holes in the buses for that. And then there's also the risk that if we go under a low-hanging branch or something like that, they will get hit. So the new ones will have an internal antenna that goes around the perimeter of the bus instead of just being right on the roof of the bus.
Do we know when this one bus will be available to send out with Wi-Fi in it?
As soon as that company gets our filter list, then yes, it will be ready. The system's already installed in there. And we got it installed within a day whenever we put it in. But as soon as they recognize our filtering list, then it will be ready to just be plugged right back in and kids can start using it.
Now, when the one bus will be going out first for a while before we get to the
Yes.
others, will those kids on that bus know that Wi-Fi is available on that bus and not just going without notifying these students?
Oh, yeah, they know.
Okay.
In fact, they've already been asking for that bus and then finding out, oh, wait, it doesn't have Wi-Fi on it.
And did you say, Calista, when the other buses will be in, or are they gonna come in?
Well, Dave's
On
back
a-
there, so he
Should
probably
be
got
in.
Dave.
Okay,
Dave dressed
sorry.
up today, he's got a suit
Looking
and tie
dapper,
on,
yeah.
so.
Oh, look at him, making That's right, don't let it go to waste.
We're
I guess.
anticipating delivery of the 5 additional buses, hopefully late this week.
Oh, awesome.
Very
And
good.
they'll come equipped with the Wi-Fi, or is that something then
We
you have to
install
install
it.
here?
Mhm.
Okay.
Actually, my department and Dave's department worked together to make sure that was installed the right way, so we wouldn't have any further glitches.
Silly question, Dave, but do they have that as an option on buses yet? Have they gotten that far?
Well, with all the phone calls that I've received, it's new enough that we have lots of other districts looking at us
Okay.
to pave the way. So I would say it will be
You probably need to come up to
becoming
the
an
table.
option very soon.
Danny's having a fit back there.
Any other questions for Calista or Dave? Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Any other discussion items? No? I'd just like to thank everybody watching at home on Jet 14 for tuning in. We appreciate it. And I will entertain a motion to go into closed session.
Just want to tell Cable One, thanks again for supplying Jet 14 to us. I talked to Charlotte McClure the other day, and so I appreciate that they are still doing that for us. Sorry.
Now I will entertain a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, and we will go immediately, that means now, to our closed session room.